I'm Alexis Teeter, and I'll be speaking on the topic of bulimia nervosa. Do you guys know anyone who disappears after every meal? This can be a sign of purging, and all ages can do this, and it is a symptom of bulimia nervosa. This bulimia normally affects women because the media forces such an insane body image on women, which makes them uncomfortable in their bodies. So, in order to better understand bulimia, I want you to imagine that you're at your favorite restaurant. Your family tells you that you can order whatever you want, however much you want. You don't have to worry about anything. So, of course, you order your favorite meal, and you down that meal because you're starving. And it's just very good, but you decide that you're still hungry, so you order another whole meal. You get spaghetti, and they give you like a big plate of spaghetti. So you finish it, but you're not hungry anymore, and you weren't hungry after eating half of the spaghetti, but you still finished it because you couldn't control your sense of eating. But now you decide that it's dessert time, and dessert is your favorite meal of the day. The waitress brings you a slice of cherry pie. You're not hungry again, but cherry pie is your favorite dessert, and you just want to eat it. So you finish that cherry pie, and then you order another dessert. After eating all this food, you don't feel better. You're definitely not hungry anymore, and your family's like looking at you, how are you comfortable with eating this much food? So you start getting thoughts of depression. You're kind of guilty that you ate all this food. So you get up to the bathroom and you go purge yourself. This is how a person that suffers with bulimia survives throughout their day. They eat over and over, but then they feel uncomfortable with the amount of food they ate or their body image, and they purge themselves. So now I'm going to tell you the specifics of bulimia and what it is. Bulimia includes binge eating and purging. According to Medline Plus, binge eating is when a person consistently eats large amounts of food and over time just loses their self-control over eating. The types of food that you eat when you binge eat are normally high caloric. They are not healthy. And there are different types of binge eating in public or in private. In public, this can be an example like going to a buffet and getting multiple plates of food that are stacked high of food, and you just clear them all. In private, it could be sitting in front of TV and eating a whole bag of chips, and then maybe eating some popcorn, cupcakes, cookies, over and over again. But binge eating leads to purging. And purging is the use of either vomiting or laxatives to prevent weight gain, as stated by Medline Plus. Now, in To the Bones, a movie on Netflix, there's a good example of a girl with bulimia because she lives in a house full of other people that suffer from eating disorders, and they're all sitting at the dinner table, and she eats her food, but then she rushes to the bathroom. Now, her roommates don't have time to stop her because it was such a spontaneous act, and she goes and purges herself in the bathroom. She doesn't feel better after purging, and she definitely doesn't want to eat anymore right away, but it's just a cycle, an emotional roller coaster that she goes on, eating and then purging. Like the girl with bulimia, many other people leave the dinner table after eating. This is an example of a noticeable symptom, but there are other unrecognizable symptoms that come with bulimia. Disappearing after meals is a main symptom of bulimia because these people want to get rid of the food as soon as they eat it because they don't want to get any bigger than they already are, even if they're skinny. And tooth erosion is caused by the vomiting that they do, and normally the acids will build up in the back of the teeth and turn it yellow. But after a while, if people force themselves to vomit anymore, all their teeth will become yellow and eroded, and they might even fall out. So in the Nationwide Children's Hospital, They say that a chipmunk face is when a person's face is swollen because of the swollen salivary glands of vomiting. And this will normally be the lower jawline of people. It'll just be bigger, swollen, not very attractive. But other unrecognizable symptoms include health problems and the misuse of medication. Sore throat is obviously caused by vomiting, but it is also because people will force their fingers and sometimes their whole hand into their throat because that's the only way they can purge themselves. Kidney problems and intestinal problems are common in bulimia because they overuse medications, but also the acids and mixture of just different liquids in your stomach it's not good for the inside of your body. And all these symptoms are treatable if you know what to do. Women's Health warns that in order to stop bulimia, you need to recognize the symptoms and get help quick. The best way to seek help is to call a doctor, because the doctors will give you proper medication for you to get through depression, or maybe some dietary pills that will help you. But they will also refer you to reliable sources such as therapists. If you have bulimia and you see a therapist, you'll mostly see a nutritional therapist because they give you advice on eating and they help get your diet back on track in a healthy way. But you will also see a talk therapist because this is a therapist we think of when we think of a therapist. They talk about the mental side of bulimia and they help you get through the depressive thoughts and just kind of give you support as you're trying to get over this eating disorder. Now we know how to stop bulimia, we can better understand and look for symptoms in ourselves or other people. So in conclusion, bulimia nervosa is a dangerous psychological disorder that affects people of all ages. Binge eating and purging are very common in bulimia, and they are just a few of the symptoms that can be in a person that suffers. So seeking help is always the right answer if you know or see someone who has symptoms. I want you to remember the story that I said earlier about eating your favorite food. You don't want to start losing control over eating. What would you do with tooth erosion and intestinal problems, swollen face, and depressive thoughts? Your life wouldn't be very fun to live anymore. So if you know anyone or if you yourself have any of these symptoms, I encourage that you go see a doctor and get help. Thank you for listening.